We have a really dynamic set of speakers here today, and really proud to partner with the College of Education and the university to record these talks, and they will be on the internet, and they are on YouTube, and you can watch the past 2 years on the YouTube channel for Think Indigenous. You can listen to the past 2 years at thinkindigenousPodcast.com. I can tell you some of the statistics around how many people have listened to this podcast and where. Just in the 2 years that we've put these out, we've had over 98,000 people listen to the Think Indigenous podcast. And there are listeners from around the world that are trying to gain insight into our lives and share best practices. There are teachers from all around Indian country, both in Canada and the US, both sides of the medicine line, that are taking these best practices and applying them into their classrooms. And I think that's pretty remarkable. Not everyone can be here, and not everyone has the privilege to travel and be away from their classrooms. And so to have the chance to record that and to put it out there for people to learn from is a good thing. And we've had a lot of people listen to this podcast and listen to what we're doing. So if you get really loud, if you bring up the energy really loud for our speakers, they're all in the room. Some of them are nervous. They didn't know there was going to be lights. I know 2 of them are in the bathroom. I mean, it's just, so put your hands together for all of your speakers that you're going to witness here. Oh yes, all of the website online, all of the speaker bios are there. So I'm going to read much of the bios that we have, but if you want their full bios and their full workload, go online onto the website and you'll find all of that information there. Our first speaker this morning is Sheryl Kimbley, and she's a proud member of the Big River First Nation. She calls her home Prince Albert for most of her life, and she promotes pride in where you live. Daughter of Lawrence and Priscilla Joseph, Sheryl surrounds herself with family and friends in the entertainment industry to help her do the projects she does. She's a recipient of the YWCA Woman of Distinction Award in the Arts for Prince Albert. She is a CTV Hometown Hero, the first annual FSIN Strength of a Woman Award winner in the arts and entertainment. She's inducted into the Prince Albert Women's Hall of Fame, and most recently, if you're not impressed already, was named the 2016 Prince Albert Citizen of the Year. Pretty impressive stuff. Put your hands together. Yes. At this time, I would like to welcome up to the microphone, Sheryl Kimbley.
Good morning. I just like to take a look at the people that I'm speaking to and ground myself before I start. And I want to say that I welcome everybody today and thank you for having me in your circle today. You're all beautiful. I'm looking at all your beautiful shining faces. Some of you I recognize right off the bat, Celeste back there. And I know Rosanna is over here, some of our Voices of the North supporters. Oh, and there's Lana and Angus. All beautiful people you are, and it's my understanding I'm speaking to a lot of educators, and I see a good friend of mine, former Vice Chief Simon Bird and his wife. Welcome. It's important to me to be here today. I'm not a public speaker. I don't consider myself that at all, and just being named Citizen of the Year took me to a very humble place. I remember when they came to tell me that this is going to happen, I just looked at them and thought, what? Why? I couldn't understand. And it took me a couple days to get through that, and finally when the program was coming out, what they said to me is, take a look at the program, Sheryl, just to proof it. And looking at the program, the long list of people that had received the Prince Albert Citizen of the Year Award, which, by the way, has long been talked about as being a very racist city. I looked at that list, and on that list were former were lawyers and doctors, people who had buildings named after them, and I thought, who the heck am I? What am I doing on this list? I don't understand. And I had to take a journey. And so today what I'm going to talk about is this little journey that I've been on and trying to understand who the heck am I. And I'm really glad to have the chance to speak with you today, and I welcome all of you into my circle. And if you have any desire to know who the heck you are, come and ask me, because I'm still trying to figure it out. 2002, my good friend Bernice Sayese found out that she had breast cancer, and it was stage 4. And she took me aside and she said, well, my girl, looks like I'm going to have to start handing over the reins to you with Voices of the North, which coincidentally just this year celebrated 25 years in Prince Albert. Yes. Well, I said no. I said, that's not going to happen. My mom survived breast cancer. We're going to do this, Bernice. And she said, no. I have a pretty good idea that I'm going to be leaving. And if you know Bernice Sayese, if anybody does, this woman knew how to plan her life very well. So that year, 2002, she was named Citizen of the Year. And she said, at my banquet, here's what's going to happen. And I'm following behind her, taking notes. I'm probably not going to want you to cry, and don't you dare make me cry. Write a speech, but don't make it too mushy. Don't make it too long. I want you to wear this, and I want you to pick up this flower, and you're going to do this, and these are the people that I want to be there. And I thought, okay, Bernice. But I did it. I did exactly what she asked. And after the banquet was done, which was in January, in February, she took me by the hand and she said, this year you're going to watch me. I'm going to do everything, and you're going to take every single note you can, and then you're going to do Voices of the North yourself the following year, and I'm going to watch you, and I'm not going to help. And then I'm probably going to pass away shortly after that once I know everything's okay. Come on, Bernice. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Well, 2002, I took all the notes that I could. She worked very, very hard. And after she was done that, she started failing. She started getting very weak. She started telling me plans that were going to happen that I needed to continue doing. And of course, I kept saying, no, that's not happening. Well, just before our Voices of the North that was to happen, which would have been her last one, she one by one took us all by the stage and she said, here's what's going to happen. And you have to understand, I'm still with every hope in my heart that Bernice is going to be with me forever. So she takes me beside the stage and she said, this is what's going to happen. You were going to do this. These performers are going to do this. I want you to keep inviting these ones, and I want you to welcome people at the door. I want you to never, ever change. I want you to go into as many communities as you're invited to, make it happen, do what you have to do. But whatever you do, keep Voices of the North a family and keep it going, because our Aboriginal people have so much talent, and we have to let them know that there's always going to be a stage for them. So I did the last show with her not helping me at all. I kept going to ask questions and she wouldn't. She just wouldn't. And then just before March 4th, 2004, she took me aside, lying by her bedside, and she wasn't making any sense at all. I thought it was a lot of medication. And I went to her bedside and I said, how you doing? And she said, I'm not good. This is almost it. My head still didn't believe it. And she started sitting up, and all of a sudden, her arms were flailing about, and I was very scared. I thought, okay, here we go. And she said, they're going to be coming. Like, you won't even know what to do. You're going to be all freaked out, and you're going to be scared, and you're going to be thinking, who's going to help me? But I'll be right above you. I'll be right above you. But these kids are going to be looking from between the trees, and they're going to come running at you. It's so many of them. And once you get one set of them in, another set's going to come running, and you're going to be scared, but it's going to be okay. And of course, I looked over at her daughter and her sister, and I just kind of went, okay then. She's kind of high right now. And she laid back down and went to sleep. Went home, sent my husband off safely to the airport. He works at Key Lake. And I said, she's probably still going to be around when you come back, so no worries. Well, the next day we lost her, and my husband flew right back to support me because to date, that had been my most deepest loss ever. Well, that was 2004. One of the things she told me to do before she passed was to do something for our youth. She said, we're not cutting it with Voices of the North. Every year, more and more singers are coming, and not just from Saskatchewan, they're coming from Alberta and Northwest Territories and Manitoba. And year after year, these beautiful young faces are coming and singing, but they're not quite making the mark. We need to do something more. So what do you think we should do? And I have no idea. I said, well, she said, it'll come to you. Just keep thinking about it. You need to do something for our youth. All right. Well, probably 2005, close to the end of the year, a young girl phoned me after auditions, and she said, where I come from, there's not a lot. There's maybe one guitar that I can have access to now and then. In the gym, there's gym equipment. And she said, there's nothing I can do. I have a really good voice, but really nervous. And I feel like if I could just get up on that stage and if I could just sing even one verse, I would be really good. I just want to show you. And I thought about that, and I said, okay, well, let's see then. So one day when she was in Prince Albert, her mother called me, and she came, and I think I cried that cry that I've been crying recently. It's that ugly cry, and I've been telling everyone, and you know this cry. It's that one where you have the snot bubbles coming out. The one where every chin that you own and more comes out. You know that one, this one? And you're like, I did that cry. Because once she opened her mouth, wow, it was beautiful. She was speaking through singing. I heard her. And I wanted to hear so many more. And once I was done crying, because I think I scared her a little bit, I looked at her and I said, where did you learn to do that? And she said, it's just in me. I don't know. I want to sing. And she said, but there's nowhere in my community where I can do this. There's no support. There's everybody's helping with sports. I even asked to go to a camp for singing, and she said there was no funding for that. But my brothers all went to hockey camp. They all went to the games. They all did this, but there's nothing for me. And then it was shortly after that, one by one, I started getting invited to different things in communities I did not want to be invited to. Once it started, it felt like people kept calling me for funerals of our young people. And I know you're all with me in this, that there's way too many of our young people leaving us too soon because they don't have a voice. So it wasn't too long after that I ran into a woman named Margaret Duncombe with NSCRD out of L'Orange. And I told her, this is an idea I have. I have an idea where we take this program into the northern communities and we present and we tell them, let's get you some information on broadcasting. Let's get you information on your artwork and poetry, set design, singing, stage presence, all that kind of stuff. Let's do that. And then she said, well, that sounds good, but how are we going to do it? Then the process started. So we did 1 year of the program called Northern Spirits, which coincidentally this year celebrated 10 years. So I'm really proud of Northern Spirits. Yeah. And I thought, with the help of NSCRD, doing all the admin work, because this girl isn't good at budgeting. Ask my husband. There's a bunch of shoes in my closet to prove that. I'm not good at paperwork either, but if you want to give me a microphone and talk, I can do that. So with me and Margaret, we put this together, and in my head I'm thinking, I hope this is right, Bernice. I hope this is the right path. I hope you're leading me to the right place. So from there, we did all of the how is this going to happen stuff, all of the how are we going to get the people here, how is the youth going to know about this program, how are we going to get the interest going, and from there, we started the first Northern Spirits in 2006. And it was quite the thing, because logistically getting youth from communities to the same place at the same time, especially when you have the fly-in communities, the Athabasca, that was pretty tricky. So I was pretty happy to have NSCRD's help there. And then, of course, if you call a musician, if you call our northern musicians, our Aboriginal musicians, or any musicians really, and you tell them, have a plan, here's the stage, they're gonna come. We have very kind-hearted musicians out there, and they came in droves to help this program happen, knowing that if you get up on a stage and any chance you're asked to speak or perform and you are able to make that happen, great things can happen. And we knew this could be for our youth. So just so happened that we decided to do a tender for the artwork for the logo that we're going to have. And I wish I was more tech savvy and more prepared to bring that logo to you today. But if you have a chance after I'm done, go and check nscrd.com out and look for the Northern Spirits logo, and you're going to see what I'm going to talk about next. So, as I said, I kept asking Bernice, I hope this is what I'm supposed to do. I hope this is what you're asking of me. And we put out that tender. What would the Northern Spirits logo look like? Well, one day I went for lunch, and when I came back a little bit early, there was only one lady in the hallway, and she said, there's a package that came for you while you're out. I put it on your desk. Okay, thank you. I went and looked, and I started pulling out the artwork, and I thought, oh, great, this is a lot of interest for our logo. And then I stopped, and then I couldn't breathe. A picture landed in front of me, and it was a picture of what I thought looked like trees, what I thought looked like kids looking from between the trees and rushing. And then we looked up to the top, and there was a drum, and around that drum was a bear. Bernice Sayese's nickname is Mama Bear. She told me she would be up there looking down on me, and she'd be there. And when I looked at that logo, right away I went running around the corner, and I said, Kendra, look at this. Does this look like trees? And she's like, settle down, are you okay? But does that look like kids running through the trees? And she's like, do you need some medication? Are you okay? Okay, never mind. And it came to me that I kept asking Bernice, I hope this is the right thing to do. I hope this is what you wanted. And it was. That logo came, and that was what she wanted to do. So Bernice, this is her program. Everybody says this is something I created. If you believe in a higher power, you believe with me that she came down through me, and this program is truly for Bernice Sayese. And as a result, we have reached, I think, over 10 years at 80 to 130 kids each, we're over 1,000 kids so far that we have taken into the program. We have a very high success rate. These kids are going back and getting jobs. We're not asking them to be stars on the stage. We're asking them to be stars in their life. They get skills in public speaking. They learn how to be comfortable with themselves. They learn that they matter. And what I decided we were going to do was we were going to do something that people would have told me back then was impossible, but I refused to listen because I had such a great crew. So Voices of the North being 25 years old, and at that time we were pretty recognized. We were going to use their model, and we were going to let the kids come and mentor off of us. And I was going to give them a stage, and people say, how do you engage youth? And I just said, I don't. I've never engaged youth, not one single minute. I give them the tools, and they engage me. So basically what it is, there's a stage. I put a drum kit up there. I put a microphone up there. I put some guitars and some backup singers up there, and I just say, just go. We tell them when they walk in the room, I said, okay, from the minute I walked in here, just such as I did today with all of you, I walk in and I look around, and I see who's helping who's getting a chair for somebody, who's offering drinks, who's being kind and welcoming, who's shaking hands, and who's making an effort. But first of all, just like my dad taught me always, who's showing up? Who showed up? And that was important to me, to walk around that room and just tell them this is what, as soon as I walked in, I was already seeing what's going on in that room. So the kids knew as soon as I started talking, I said, the best singer in the world might not make it into the Northern Spirit Showcase in February. Why? And none of them could answer. But they answer now, they all know. When they walk in the room, are they respectful? Are they listening? Are they on time? Are they there? Did they show up? Because after that, the singing part, I tell them, or the guitar playing part, or the emceeing part, you're all jewels, every one of you. All of the Northern Spirits youth that are here today, a group of chaperones, your teachers, your community leaders, your parents, they all believed in you enough to bring you for this weekend and take time out of their weekend. So I already know you guys have the talent. You don't have to tell me that. I knew that before I even met you. What I need to know is, do you have the dedication to take what you're going to learn this weekend after networking with all of your peers, after putting in the hard work? Can you do a showcase? And after the weekend of going to NBC, recording a commercial, working on self-esteem, all the presenters, working with a live band, learning how to run the actual show, we picked a producer. We picked an MC. We picked the musicians, the singers, the script writers. We picked the set designers. And they did it. I wasn't surprised at all. They did it all by themselves, the whole showcase, including working with the people that do the video production, all of that. Times 10, they've done that. Times 10. They've never let me down. Where I get to the showcase and I think I'm going to have to help them, and I never do, because we gave them a stage and we said, just go. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, after 10 years, I full on know that our youth have that capacity, and we just need to keep giving them those stages. And what would you do daily? What I think that I would continue to do, and I think a lot of you are already doing that, is give them opportunity to showcase themselves. You might not know that person that's shy sitting in the back might work better, just like my son did, if you continue to let him drum at his desk. Because my son is one of those learners where he was paying attention, but he had to keep doing that repetitive thing at his desk. Do you have that kid where you know you've heard them humming, but they're so shy? Give them that chance to show you, to say, are you a singer? Are you a guitar player? Or whatever. Some of these things will help them learn better because they're showcasing their talent. Maybe not in a big crowd, maybe just to you. Are they an artist? Are they a doodler? Are they that person that you know is at home standing in front of their mirror with a brush singing? Give them those chances. And the whole time, all you ever have to tell them is, be proud of who you are, like I am. Be proud of where you're from, like I am. And tell them it's okay to be them, and they have something inside of them, and help them get that out, because the arts have done so much for me and my family and for the kids that I've worked with. And I'm so honored to be here. So I will leave you with myself. I put it out there and say that in order to become the Citizen of the Year, the journey that I had to go on was, after telling all these kids all these years, you're important, you're amazing, you have the potential to do great things. How awesome are you? Hearing that I was Citizen of the Year and not being able to accept it as an Aboriginal woman in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, I had to remind myself that yes, I too am worthy. And how could I believe that I wasn't worthy and teach all these kids that they are? So you have to believe in yourself as well, just as much, so you can share that back with these kids, because you're fabulous. And you have to learn every day, because sometimes it's a hard journey. So with that, I am daughter to Lawrence and Priscilla Joseph, wife to Grant Kimbley, mommy to LJ Kyle and Colton, member of Big River First Nation, married into Beauval, Saskatchewan. I work for the Prince Albert Grand Council, and I'm fabulous.